win at the end of the game, but previously Fabiano took extreme chances, difficulties for himself, I think, with some of the decisions he made. It's a Sicilian now, and let's see what has happened. It's a close Sicilian with knight c3, g6, bishop c4, castle, bishop g7, castles, a6. So black is not deciding whether he's going to be playing with d6 or e6 and d5. a6 and b5 probably.
a3 by Yangyi and e6, d3,
knight e7. Very quick developing moves.
Bishop back to a2 and d5 anyway. Capture on d5. So the bishop drew back to a2 to not allow d5 with a tempo, but was still pushed. Bishop g5.
Now it's h6 will be forced, or the queen move.
h6 indeed, as you mentioned.
Bishop h4, provoking black, playing g5.
And it's on the board. Bishop g3.
But now there is no pin anymore, so the d5 pawn is not under attack.
Castle kingside by Fabiano. He doesn't mind that he has pushed the g-pawn.
Well, I guess he just wants to develop his bishop to e6 and knight to g6, or knight to f5. That's also an option. I'm expecting rook e1, I guess. That seems to be a logical continuation for white. Fabiano seems to be very calm.
h3 by Yangyi. And bishop to e6, queen d2.
Both players try to develop. Now queen d7 would be a blunder, I believe, because of knight e4, a4, so that's why black played knight g6, yet developing on that direction on the king side. Black can be possibly having bishop f6 and h5 later as an opportunity.
He is going for a knight maneuver, knight e2. But that allows a couple of ideas, such as the capture on b2.
And it seems like Fabiano wanted to take it, but maybe he's going to change his mind.
Will he?
And he played f5 instead. Rook e1. I wonder whether he's going to play f4. Not yet.
e7 now.
Yes, because knight is on e2, so he cannot move to a4 and take advantage of the weaknesses. So now queen d7 is very stable. The question is whether white can move back to c3 with the threat of possibly rook b6, but white played b4 instead.
And f4, bishop h2.
Well, now the bishop doesn't have a big...
Yeah, the white bishop is struggling on h2, being very passive.
Rook d8 should be the move, but it's not. King h8.
Stepping out of the diagonal.
Yeah, because probably bishop h3 is a kind of a plan of Fabiano, and he wants to make sure that bishop d5 will be not coming with a check. c3, but now rook d8. King h1 being prepared already against the possible bishop h3. So
bishop f5 instead. He's keeping that bishop still.
No, this bishop on h2 is completely hopeless, it seems.
Yeah, it's a dead piece, and Yangyi is in a must-win situation, so even a draw will give the same full point to Fabiano.
Knight d4. Well, I believe knight b4. No, actually black played rook e8, knight f5. Takes, still the h2 bishop is there where it doesn't want to be.
That's the problem piece for white. It's a virtual piece down. Queen to f7. After d4.
Yeah, white wants to bring his bishop through b1, and that's what he played. And now I must say I'm not sure in the last few moves that it was a good happenings, what was going on for Fabiano's side.
That he allowed
I have the feeling that he wants to make a draw and he's playing Simplification, and not necessarily is the best
Similar to what happened to Levon.
strategy.
Maybe he had to go bold instead of being so safe, you mean?
Well, at some point it's possible that White will be moving away with his knight, playing f3, and eventually the bishop will be alive again from g1 to f2. And actually it's happening now that rook black just took on e1, knight e1, bishop is already on g1 in the game, and after knight e7, of course black is rushing to f5, so if White is going to play f3, then knight f5 and the g3 square is going to be weak, but I'm not sure that the knight on g3 will do too much. So
Queen d3 was played by Yangyi to create the queen bishop battery.
And then knight
E6.
f3, so the g1 bishop is still not very healthy. In other hand, contrary to the other bishop, is really extremely powerful, so I would think that maybe it would be time to go with black king g8 and go
the queen
somehow,
side.
yeah, start moving to the other side.
Still a 3-minute time advantage for Yu Yangyi roughly, so he has kept his edge at least on the
He
clock.
sacrificed the pawn, which is interesting, f3, and finally his bishop alive, and going to get to d4 into the center. But queen e1, I think it was a very good decision.
Yeah, pinning the bishop just in time before bishop d4
Pinning the
appears.
bishop, but I guess queen d4 will be the move. And it was not the move, queen d4, bishop
c2, bishop c2. That seems a bit slow. Although it's not so easy for black to improve his knights either.
And c4 is played. D takes c4. It helps White that he opened up the position. Still, the big question is how can he free his bishop on g1? Because after king h2, queen g3 is always in there.
And black is okay with the draw.
But actually they are playing so fast, and Yu Yangyi has 6 minutes. I don't understand exactly where he's rushing to.
He could have spent more time indeed, but it seems that he just wants to keep the time pressure on Fabi.
Queen d4, king f7. Now the white square bishop is extremely dangerous. But now black is planning to sacrifice possibly his knight on g2.
For a potential perpetual check.
Or simply go with queen to g3. But
Yangyi still has 5.5 minutes left, 3.5 minutes for Fabiano, but White is in a must-win situation.
well, I believe that maybe White can go to take the pawn on h6. I would be thinking to take queen h8, queen h6, and if queen g3, then White can go queen e6, and then possibly simply queen e2. But that was not
Doesn't
exactly
go for the h6 pawn, but plays queen to d6 instead. That attacks the pawn, but it doesn't pick it up with a check.
So the question is what happens if, let's say, black takes on g2, takes, and then actually it would be a forced draw. No, actually black would simply win.
But I can play bishop f2 after queen e2 check.
Yeah, sorry,
queen
then
to
queen g3 and
g3.
then takes
Yeah.
the bishop. So, do we have knight g2 or black is still thinking? No, we
We're still
have a
thinking,
move.
3 minutes left for the American.
If knight g2, then white should be giving a check, king b7, queen b7, if king d8 back, knight
did not
f5,
think on g2.
knight f5. Yes, because he wants to go knight g3, knight f1 perpetual check, which is not going to happen for the moment, because queen b7, king d8.
So the b7 pawn was captured with a check, and now white has to take care of the knight g3, knight f1 threat.
Well, maybe white has to go bishop c4, but actually that has happened, which is absolutely not making black's life easier.
No, it is still a lot of pressure on black, and there's no perpetual because the knight will be captured on f1.
Queen f1 would be a nice move, don't you think so?
Wow! Bishop takes m1, knight g3, king h2, knight takes f1, that's a draw.
I'm afraid it will be taken in some way or another. It doesn't make so much sense. That's the only problem.
That would be quite the move. Queen f1. Will be played?
No, probably it's simply a bad move.
I like
Well,
it.
just simply king, white has to be giving checks. No, probably just simply queen a6 and that's it.
Fabi has only 2 minutes left. There's no increment until move 61.
And awfully dangerous position at the moment.
Knight to c8. That doesn't look like it refutes white's position.
Well, bishop a6, I guess. Bishop a6 on the board, knight c to d6. Very risky situation for black. Actually, it should be room for white this position, I think.
And he still has over 4 minutes. He has kept his time advantage. 1 minute and 48 seconds left for Fabiano Caruana. He has to survive this position.
Yeah, this is a problem because white keeps an eye on the f1 square, so black cannot go the perpetual check still.
Knight e3 by Fabiano.
Yeah, this is, I believe, a very good move and the best chance. Now he's threatening with queen d2, putting pressure on the pawn on g2.
Queen a7, king e6.
Probably queen e6, I think.
To pin the d6 knight.
But then queen d2, queen a2, that was a good move.
One more check and that protects the second rank, so white is improving the situation of his queen with checks.
King d7. Now white can go b5, for example.
And so he does. The cross pawn is being pushed. It's a pawn up for yangyi, and still a time advantage. 3.5 minutes left. Over 1.5 minutes left for Fabiano.
Maybe eventually it's time to go g4 at some point for black.
Plays bishop e2. So Fabi went queen d1, bishop e2, queen e1.
Lucky has no threat at the moment, though probably he wants to go knight d2, f5.
The knights are tricky pieces, that's for sure. There's still some danger.
I can tell you a lot about that, how tricky they are.
I understand yangyi investing time in this position because it's still... Oh, bishop d3, queen d1, they are repeating the position. This is the second time it's on the board and the draw is good for Fabi.
And now queen e2, I think black can exchange, but he's not. He went queen c1.
Wow. Queen c1 and now king h2. Finally, the king is out of the pin on the back rank.
h5, Fabiano was expecting this. So he played a very fast move playing h5 and possibly he wants to reach out to g4.
He has to be very quick. It's only 1 minute left for the American, 2.5 minutes left for you, yangyi.
Bishop f2. So finally white is going out from there. So possibly bishop e1 will be the next move. Trying to get out from that very unpleasant g1.
This is still a very complex position and no time for the players. Move 53, so they have to play 7 more moves to start receiving increment.
Just in a few minutes, the last Armageddon.
Yes.
They will be starting.
I think we will be just ready after this Armageddon for the last one that's between Wesley So and Rishi Anand, starting at 9 local time in 6 minutes.
I have the feeling that white worsened his position in the last 5-7 moves because his queen is not active anymore and very difficult for him to progress.
Trying to get out now with queen e1.
Queen c5.
1.5 minutes left for you, Yangyi, and 1 minute for Fabiano Caruana. This is move 54.
I wonder after Queen A5 what he wants to do, but I believe King D7 would be the move. White played King G1 instead.
And after King B6, Queen A1.
That's a nice move, trying to go all the way to G7 and start eating up the pawns on the king side.
The pawn is captured on B5, so the passed pawn is gone.
Actually, this is the position, sorry. It was King B6, not Queen B6.
Ah,
True.
did I say queen?
No, I misunderstood.
Both players are down to just seconds. This is move 57, so 3 more moves before. Oh, Yangyi has started the piece, but he's not sure whether to play that move.
Well, probably he wanted to go Queen F6, and after that Knight D6 would be the move. And Black starts to be in safety, probably.
Takes on B5 instead, multiple trades, and they play a king and pawn endgame. Whoa. Judith, how do you see this?
Well, I
Yangyi
guess,
calculated in 10 seconds.
But is in G4 possible? King E4. But probably G4 can be the only draw if.
Black is in Zugzwang. If he doesn't have G4, the pawn is lost.
Takes H4, King E4, white goes out.
King to D5, and after king takes E3, king E5. Indeed, taking the opposition. "20 seconds left for the players." F4
it's
check.
G4, no?
He played F4 instead.
F4.
King F5. Judith, what's going on?
No, I think it should
16
be
seconds left for you,
simply lost.
Yangyi. 11 seconds for Fabiano.
It's just King F3, no? Yeah, King F3 we have, it's just...
And the handshake. After King F3, G4,
Wow.
and he's winning King F1 again. What has gone wrong for Fabiano suddenly?
Wasn't G4 draw?
That's what it's saying now. Sorry, you
You, Yangyi, was telling Fabiano.